3D Winnie the Pooh acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be making a 3D Winnie the Pooh acrylic nail art design. And so if you are just getting into making characters, this would definitely be a good one to try, because most characters, if you were to say do Tinkerbell, I mean it's got lots of facial features, things to do, a lot of depth, whereas Winnie the Pooh is all really rounded, simple, easy shapes with only 2 colors of acrylic, which doesn't sound like it would really make a difference, but definitely keeping the colors limited can definitely make your first character a little less daunting. So I hope you like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to my future videos as well.
So to start with, I'm going to begin with a teal bluey glittery type background. I wanted to kind of maintain a primary color scheme. So since Winnie the Pooh is yellow with a red shirt, the background in my mind should be somewhere in the blue family. So I went with this one that's just gorgeous glitter. Glitter doesn't necessarily scream Winnie the Pooh, but it's not anti Winnie the Pooh. So I like glitter, so I went with glitter. But that is completely optional. So once you have that glitter background on there, add a layer of clear acrylic on top of that. I forgot to show that in the video. I apologize, but that you do want to make sure that you do that and not forget. After you have the clear acrylic on there and it is set, go ahead and file it, starting with a 180 grit file. Man, I can't think of what I'm even doing here. And then buff that with a 240 grit padded buffer to remove any scratches that the coarser file may have left behind. So now with yellow acrylic, I'm going to start sculpting out my Pooh, and I'm going to begin with just first form a circle and then just sort of push out the cheeks and then pull down the chin. So if you start with a circle and then you add the extras, it's going to give you a nice rounded forehead with then more of like a triangular chin and cheek area. After that's on there, add his body. So this is just a nice round circle for that. And don't worry like pulling that all the way up for his neck. Since he has that shirt on, it's not necessary. So just have that nice round tummy. And then I'm going to be adding his arms, and I'm going to use a smaller 3D sculpting brush. So just pull that first arm down and just add that on there like that. Now for the other arm, because his arm is up and it's touching his face, you don't want to do his forearm, just the top of his arm, where so above his elbow, because you're going to need to add the shirt between. So if you just wait for the rest of that, so just add that arm first. And as you can see, so far all of these shapes that I'm doing are pretty simple, pretty soft shapes that are really round. Now adding his hand there is a little more detailed, but if you don't want to, you can definitely skip that part and it would not look weird at all. You can just leave the end of his arm rounded. That would be a-okay. And like I said, really you can minimize what you're doing here to keep it simple. Like I also added his legs and one of his feet, which I'm doing right now. So there's a little bit of leg showing. It's really close to the edge of the nail, so not too much. But the other leg, it's the entire leg and foot. And if you are just starting doing 3D nail art, skip that part. You don't have to do everything here. You could blow this up and just do his head. That sounds really horrible. Blow up his head. No, don't blow up his head. Increase the size of the design and just create his head or his face, maybe a little bit of his shirt. So you can make this easier. Like I said, if this is your first time out with a character, this is definitely an easy one to do. There are others, and I can look through my videos and find a couple other easy first acrylic designs to put in the description box. But for a characters usually seem to be a little more work. This one is a good one to start with. So then I'm going to be adding his shirt with red, and I missed part of that video. I don't know what the deal was there. I was clearly having problems with my camera. So just add the shirt and just tuck that up around the sides of his face. And then now I'm going to be taking a little bit more of that red acrylic and right on the area that goes around his face, that little line, thicken that up a little bit to make it look like he's got more of a collar. And then once you have that in place, I'm going to be adding his sleeves. So then just cap off the top of each arm with a little more of that red acrylic. Then just finish that off with that, just like that. And then I'm going to go through and do the other side. Just grab a little bit more of that red and make sure that it does stick up higher than the rest of his shirt, because this is 3D, so you do want to have a little bit of dimension there. So just make sure it's a little thicker than the rest, just like that. And then I'm going to go through and just a little more red acrylic here and there, touching things up with acrylic. One of the main things that I think is important to learn how to do is get a very small bead, which probably seems like, get a small bead, how is that difficult? But it can be, because and getting consistent sizes so that you really have control of the size of how much acrylic you're getting. And that does take practice, and it does take work. You have to keep at it so that because even just switching the acrylic powder that you're using can adjust the size of the bead that you're getting. And so you have to really learn not only how to use acrylic in general, but how to use your own acrylics. So when you're just starting out, don't get discouraged in the beginning, because it's not that easy. And like for doing things like his ears, being able to get that consistent size is crucial. And so you do have to practice with it and really figure it out. And brands are generally consistent. So if you're just starting out, I would suggest not getting multiple brands. Find a brand that you want to start out with and just keep at it, and don't confuse yourself with too many things, because they all react a little differently. So just keep that in mind. So then I also added a little bit of thickness to his forehead, which is what I just did after I added his ears. And then I'm going to be adding his snout, which does come out. So then add that and just sort of blend that up with the very tips of your brush, just very light little feather strokes, just to blend that out. And then carve away with the tip of your brush his smile. You could also do that with, say, a toothpick. It's a little thick, but it would work. Or even like a little knife could cut away, just to create that smile. And then I also add a little bit more to his chin, and then with black, add a teeny tiny little bit of black acrylic for the oval on his nose. Now, if that bead is too much and black acrylic, if it does get in the wrong place, it's going to leave a streak of pigment. You might want to do that with paint instead. So now with white acrylic paint, I'm going to go through and I'm going to be highlighting my Winnie the Pooh. So I'm going to highlight his ears, highlight his forehead, highlight on his snout a little bit. Just go through, and any of the areas that you want to appear more 3D, that stick out further, go ahead and add just a little dash of yellow paint. My yellow acrylic paint is not as pigmented as I would like it to be, which for most circumstances is horrible, and I'm upset with the particular bottle that I bought. But for this particular circumstance, it does work out well, because you can blend the colors out really nicely if you just want to get sort of a hint of the color, which for highlighting is what you want. And then with red, I'm going to be highlighting his shirt, and this is a brighter shade of red than the color of acrylic I was using on his shirt. If you just use the same color, it's not going to do any good. But then with black paint, I'm going to be adding a little details like his eyes, and then I'm also going to be giving him some little eyebrows, and then a little line on the top of his snout to make it look like he's got a wrinkle there, and then a little bit of a line in his mouth and give him some smile lines, just like that. And when you're doing any of this stuff, once again, if you're just starting out, having control over an acrylic brush is also going to help you have control over a painting brush, and vice versa. The feeling of painting and the way brushes work, if you're used to using a pencil, switching to a brush is going to be a very uncomfortable thing, because you can't press, which you have to with a brush. So just keep practicing, and anything you do with art across the board is going to help everything else you do with art. Even things like, dancing are going to improve your art in other ways. Maybe not ways that you can see easily, but it will. So just keep at it and do art everywhere you go. So then I added a gel sealer over the glittery background to really make that sparkle, and matte top coat over the Winnie the Pooh after all of his outlines were dry. And that is it. So I hope you like this, and I hope this maybe helped you out a little bit. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook and Instagram. I would absolutely love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!